the 790 Pro, and I also have a sign of our new award. We are the Presidential Award winners for 2022. Can you believe it? I can't. I mean, when I saw Jenny's name pop up on the big screen at BU in Dallas, I mean, I was just completely shocked, and so was she. And it was such a rush. It was the adrenaline. Our hearts were fast. We were crying. It's an amazing accomplishment and award given to us by Paul Ashworth, who is the Bernina of America CEO for Bernina of America. I mean, he's a great guy, and it was just amazing. So I know most of you know, but I just wanted to let you know we have a sign, and if you didn't know, you can come congratulate Miss Jenny, and she'd love it. So I want to go over the features of the 790 Pro. So the first thing that I noticed when I looked at this machine was the faceplate. I mean, it is a beautiful color of matted gray. It's just beautiful. The number on it is shiny. It's a silver, as well as there's a logo here that says StitchPrecision 2, as well as you have the wonderful red Bernina logo. So this is just a wonderful machine. It looks like the already existing 790 Plus, but this guy is the 790 Pro. So I'm getting a few questions about what's the difference between the Pro, the Plus, and the 880 Plus. So we'll go through a few features, and as we go through these features, I'll say that this is Pro exclusive or Plus exclusive, or the 880 has this, and the 790 Plus has this, and 790 Pro has this. So pay attention, and you can also comment at the end of this video or as you are watching if you have any questions. I will try to answer those questions or comments throughout the duration of the video being out there. So let's get started. Get a cup of coffee. I have my little tea drink that I get every morning. If you see me with one of these, it's my energy drink. Alright, so get a cup of tea, get maybe a pen and paper, and you can write notes down. I do have a few slides that I can show you that you can screenshot if you can manage to do that. If you screenshot, you hit the power button as well as the volume down button at the same exact time. So if you time it just right, you'd be able to screenshot, and then you can come to the shop or you can call us and we can get you the information that you wanted to know, or a few features about this machine. Alright, so the first thing that I also noticed, or I guess the second thing, was there's an automatic needle threader, just like the 880. Now, if you are an 8 series owner, an 830, an 820, or even an 880, there's a few difficulties with the needle threader. Now, Bernina has listened to everyone that has those type of machines, and they have perfected and made it better. So, and it's the mechanicals that they adjusted. It looks exactly the same. It actually is a little thinner. Believe it or not, it's very slightly, but they did make it a few adjustments, and as well as it's faster. So let's thread this machine. I did already thread it up above. It's the same exact threading path as a 790 plus. It's just the needle threader is the only addition. So of course you still want to hold the thread up above, and then you're going to slide it in between the lips of the reader, and I cut the thread on the side of the machine, and this button on the front of the machine is the needle threader. So I'm just going to hit that guy, and it's going to do its thing. It does take a little bit longer the very first time you use it, because it does the Bernina burp burp, is what I call it. It kind of go and then it's thinking, and it will thread the needle. So now if I do it the next time, and as you notice, I don't have to signal it first. Like on an 8 series, you put it through the first piece up above, and then you've got to wait for it to kind of think and for the button to turn white. This, if you hit the button, it'll just thread. So they take that taken care of. So if you are a speed threader, you can thread it, put it in the needle threader, hit the button, and it's threaded. No issues with that. Now, did you see how fast I did that? It's great. Absolutely great. Okay, so this button on the screen, it is already yellow because I turned it on before I started this video, but that is your needle point laser. So this machine, the laser, which I will show you an image of where it's located in a second, but this laser is actually attached to the needle bar. Now, if we were to take the covers off of this machine, only techs can do this, but if the covers were off of the machine, you'd be able to see the needle bar, and it's about right here on the machine. So right down here, the needle bar comes all the way down, and then the laser is toward the end part of the needle bar. Is in every single needle position, the laser will follow the needle. So there's the little laser on the little fabric. So that is really, really cool. So you can see where the needle is. Yeah, and the laser is actually, if you put your finger to the left side of the needle, you'd actually be able to see the little red laser. Now this is actually a high volume laser, so it is very strong. So don't look and tip the machine over on its side and look at the laser, because it will hurt your eyes if you don't. All right, so we have some brochures printed. This machine is so new that it only came out last week, that we have to print the brochures. There's no hard copy cardstock that we get from Bernina. So this is the brochure. It is printer friendly. It talks about all of the features, what the areas are, the embroidery highlights, sewing highlights, great pictures that describe everything. But we're going to go through this in our video. But that way you can come to the store and you can print a brochure, or you can go to Bernina's website, BerninaUSA.com, and look up the 790 Pro, and then you can print the brochure. It is printer friendly on their website. All right. So why does this machine have the logo of StitchPrecision 2? Now, I was wondering this too, and I went to a few classes and I finally got explained why. I mean, what's with the StitchPrecision 2? Why is it a number 2? And so how they described it to me was, this is like the next generation, the next level of how Bernina is always making things perfect with their technologies, and they're always making it better. So with the StitchPrecision 2, they are always trying to strive to make something good, and now it is exponentially more better, or it's even better than the 790 Plus. So they have updated a little bit the hook system, they've made it oil better, they've also made it quicker, faster, and quieter. 33% faster, even with the SDT module. So, for example, if you put a 790 Pro right next to a 790 Plus, and they're both with the SDT new module that came out a few years ago, then the Pro machine, the 790 Pro, is actually faster, and it's 33% faster with those designs. Now, it does depend on how dense a design is, how big the hoop is, but overall it is faster and quieter. There was no technology difference from the SDT. It is the same SDT that came out a few years ago. It's the machine that had the upgrade to make it faster. StitchPrecision 2. Second is the magnetic thread clamp. Now the magnetic thread clamp, I will show you a little bit later where that is located, but what it controls is the length of thread when the machine cuts. Now this includes the top thread and the bobbin thread. They have made it overall shorter and more consistent thread tails. They have also made it different defaults for the sewing side and the embroidery side. Because sewing, we want our thread tails a little bit longer, and embroidery, you want them a little bit smaller. And they also made it overall more reliable and consistent. So this is an example of the back side of an embroidery. The left side is a 790 Plus, the right side is a 790 Pro. And as you can see, the Pro is more cleaner. You can actually see more of the design stitches than the 790 Plus. So that is great. This next image is 3 different machines, the Bernina 790 Pro, the Brother, and then the Ingenuity. These are the competitors, the top competitors. This is still the back of the design, and the Bernina Pro is still a little bit cleaner with the thread tails. Now moving on to the front of the design, it's the same design, just the front side. We have the same machines, but the main difference that I see between these 3 different machines is the Bernina 790 Pro as well as the Genome. You can see the center bullseye is in that picture, but in the Bernina, the bullseye is a little bit bigger, so it's a little bit cleaner. So again, this is the needle threader. The tie on and tie off button has been moved up and actually onto the screen interface, just like the 880. Is more reliable, no preload sensor, and it's the same threading path as a normal 7 series, and then you just hit a button to thread the needle. The needle point laser is attached to the needle bar, so you have all needle positions, which is Bernina exclusive. Not all sewing machine brands have that. As well as you can turn it on and off on a button on the screen of the machine. Wi-Fi compatibility, which means there's a Wi-Fi piece attached to the board of this machine, so you can get notifications and you can see the design preview on your phone. Now, as you can see as the slide, it only works with iPhones 15, that the firmware is updated to 15, and then the Android, the firmware is at 10 for Androids. So it works with cell phones, It does work with iPads, tablets. It currently does not work with Android tablets, but they are always figuring out and moving to be better. So I would expect it in the future. And the Stitch Out app, you can actually connect to more than one machine for one app. So if you are absolutely in love with this machine, you can connect and have two machines with one app, so you don't need two different devices. Now, you will only get notifications for one because you have to switch from machine profile to machine profile. So now let's go into the embroidery features. So the first impressive embroidery feature is, I think in my opinion, is it can read BQM files. Now BQM files are quilting files that you would use for a long arm. Now that is impressive. And then you can also, on the machine in the settings, you can change the stitches per inch to 24 to 2 stitches per inch. I mean, that is impressive. That is crazy. I absolutely love that. So you can change the size of a BQM file from 10 inches all the way down to 4 inches. Because how a BQM file works is it takes the stitch, the design, and it reads it and it puts it into embroidery, and then once you hit the needle to start going, that is when it applies the stitches. Now this is only for quilting files. Embroidery files that have the stitches programmed into them, there's still going to be some ratio difficulty, but it won't be as bad. So like we have a design that is 10 inches, and then I can bring it down to 4 inches in a 4-inch block. Like if I want to do some computerized quilting and I want to stitch a cute little design in that block. So I would use 4 pinpoint placement, and yes, it does have 4. And once let's say you set the first point, the second point, the third point, and the fourth point, and you set them all, and then you realize, oh, I think I set the first one wrong. I didn't do them all the same before. So you can go back to the first point and remove it, and it saves. Every single time you hit a point, it will save that change. And then when you go to the next one, it saves. So that is amazing. I mean, absolutely amazing. They were brilliant. So this is the 4-point pinpoint placement. There is morphing. So you would hit the 4 points and then you just move on to the next point to toggle in between the size. And then in the last image, all the way to the right, there's a little yellow box that's highlighted and it's at 1/4 of an inch. You can set margins with your quilting designs. So you can also do this on the Bernina Q-matic software on the long arms. So I love that they brought it to the sewing machine so you can morph it in the sewing machine side. Now you don't lose your 2-point pinpoint placement grid, your 2-point pinpoint placement. You never lose anything that they gave you before, but you also gain 4-point pinpoint placement fit and the morph. And any 4-sided 4-point shape you can use this with. So here's a little bit of how the fit works. You set your points and then it will fit the design inside that boundary, and then you can keep it locked so that way it stays proportionate and so you don't mess with proportional designs. Like for example, I'd use the fit for lettering, and so you can put lettering in a space without changing the size of each letter. As well as, this is a new feature on the 790 Pro only, it has multi-line lettering and alignment. So this image, you have 4 lines and you put them in at the exact same time. You type Bernina and then you go down, you hit enter, and there's a little enter button, and then you can write each line separately. And then in the image on the right, you can align all of the words on the right, which is the default when you put lettering in. Then you can hit center and it will center the words in the center of each of the hoop. Or you can do the right and it will move all of the words to the right of the last letter. So that is super, super cool. And then a new feature that is only on the 790 Pro, it has align and distribution designs. So you can plop in a bunch of designs, and all she did is when you add the same design over and over and over. So there's multiple layers of the same design. And then you hit the align button, and then you can move it so that they're all in the middle. You can move so there's 2 columns that are proportionate and vertical to each other. You just see all sorts of different ways you can align it. So that is super, super cool. To the 770 QE Plus, as well as the 790 Plus. So the decorative stitches, there is 194 more decorative stitches on the Pro. The sewing alphabet side, there's a total of 10 alphabet stitches on the sewing side. Now on the alphabet side, on the embroidery, using the module, there's 7 more stitches than the 790, which is amazing. And then the embroidery designs, there's 168 of those new designs on the embroidery side when you hook up the module. Now, out of the 168 embroidery designs, there is 68 or 67, one of those, more quilting designs that have that BQM file in them. So out of that, there's probably close to half that are quilting designs, which is super, super cool. And that's amazing. That is super, super cool. Okay, so we have, with the improvements, this is what, kind of backtracking a little bit and going over what's new, is it's Wi-Fi compatible. There's a new upgrade to the hook, and then there's the laser, and the needle threader and thread clamp. So I'm going to switch cameras real quick to show you the hook. So this is the hook that comes in the 790 Pro. So as you can see, you can notice a difference right away. In a regular 574 series existing hook, this bottom piece, the whole bottom is all black. But this one, which is only in the 790 Plus, I'm sorry guys, my camera won't focus. It is half black and half silver. But the oiling is exactly the same. There's still the oiling pads right down there. And then this is the hook. So it's exactly, it looks the same. It's just inside is different. So let me explain. Let's go back to the slides and I'll explain what they improved with the hook. Because believe it or not, this is quieter than the 790 Plus, which is unbelievable. Is crazy. So here is what they upgraded with the hook guideway. Now this is a piece in the machine where the hook fits into. So this is kind of what it looks like. They made it better. Those little blue, the blue highlights, the blue lines around the hook. Now they aren't actually blue in the machine, but they made it a different color so you can kind of see what they actually did. So what they did was they put notches into that metal. So that way when oil gets in there, because we also oil the hook, and when oil gets stuck in there, you know how sometimes when you're embroidering and you're using white thread and all of a sudden your thread turns brown and then your project is ruined? I mean, that's happened to me. So what that actually is the metal on the hook is...
This is the hook guideway where the hook that we oil fits into. And those blue lines in the guideway area are signaling little notches that Bernina has added to the hook. So when we oil the machine, and sometimes we all go a little bit too long before oiling the machine again, but what these notches do is they're meant to hold the oil a little bit closer into the hook. That way when the hook rotates, it pulls the oil back in toward the hook so the hook can turn freely, easier, better, smoother, and longer. That doesn't mean that you should oil the machine less. Keep oiling the machine every single time that you change a bobbin. Because we have jumbo bobbins, I mean, the bobbins can last pretty long. So that is what they did with the hook guideway. Because they made improvements on the hook guideway, they also had to relook at the hook. So they also made it run smoother. They added more of a smoother metal plastic piece inside, as well as they made it different for employees of Bernina and dealers to recognize that it's different. So that is why half of it is silver and the other half is black. But the oiling is still the same. You still oil in those little two dots that are at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock on this hook, that is little circles. This is the location of the laser. This image is actually taken with the covers off, so that way you can see it clearly.
Now, kudos to Bernina, whoever created this diagram on the machine covers. If you watched my unpacking video, you saw this on the box. Thank you so much. It is amazing. I also recommend for all our customers, keep your machine box. The bags are great. They are great for hauling from home to classes, classes home to retreat, or anything like that. But if we ever, knock on wood, if we ever have to ship your machine back to Bernina about anything, they really want the machine in the box that it came in. Because of the styrofoam that is in the box, the machine is secure, it is safe during shipping.
I have switched cameras, and this is the new 26L foot that is starting to come with the Pro machine. Now it will eventually trickle into every module that comes out, but for now it is just coming out with these new Pro machines, the 790 Pro. The hole where the needle goes is a little bit bigger. The L stands for laser, so that the laser can fit in the hole. So that is great. Then they also revamped this foot. They have made the metal a little bit thicker, a little bit more durable, and easier for embroidery users or quilters. So this is what is coming shipped with the machines, as well as if you want one, we can also order them for you. They are replacing the 26 foot.
The 790 Pro and the 880 Plus. Well, there's really two differences. You have 10 inches of space from the right of the needle on
790 Pro.
On the 880, you have 12 inches right to the needle. So it's a 2-inch space.
This is an image with the Bernina B9 hook. It is currently in the existing 4 series, 5 series, and 7 series Bernina machines. And it is also in the B790 Pro machine. It is where the bobbin case and the bobbin go into the hook, and it acts as a rotary and even a CB bobbin. And the only difference is it is the jumbo bobbins, so it is nice and big and holds 70% more thread than the rotary hooks and the CB hooks. So it is a great hook system. Now this is the 8 series hook system. It is currently existing in the 820, 830, and the 880. Now they are still supporting this hook system, but the difference is every single time you open that door, the hook swings out to the front, and then when you close the door, it swings back out. It is a great hook system. You can thread it for embroidery and sewing in the same bobbin area, so that is great and is also a reliable hook system.
Now, the difference between the 790 Plus and the 790 Pro, I have to say it kind of slow so I don't screw it up. But this machine, again, has the Wi-Fi compatibility. It has the needle laser compatibility. It is faster, smoother, and quieter. It has the StitchPrecision 2 shape designer. Now that comes from the 880 Plus. It did not exist before on the 790 Plus. So they brought that over for this machine because eventually, in fact, they have stopped production of the 880 Plus. This machine and the machine for next year is going to replace that machine, as well as the 790 Plus will be replaced by this guy. So they still have those machines in stock. Not saying that you can't get them. We can certainly get them for you. They're just stopped production, and they're coming out with new stuff. Always trying to make things better for us. So that's a feature on the 770 QE Plus. There's a few features that they brought over for this machine. It has triple stitch. So on every type of decorative stitch or even essential stitch or quilting stitch that isn't already triple stitched, you can make it triple stitched in the information bar here. And the triple stitch is that button right there. This machine has multi-directional stitches, which the 790 Plus and the 880 Plus also had. So they brought that over. They also brought over the BSR Mode 3. Now, if you're not familiar with quilting machines, you have Mode 1, which is your needle moves 100% of the time as long as the machine is on. Okay? Now, Mode 2, your needle stops when your fabric stops. So that is mostly used for ruler work and like it for just beginning, because sometimes our brains don't think, oh, when I stop, the needle stops. So if you set it to Mode 2 and you're just learning how to move the fabric, you won't get knotted up underneath as your needle keeps going up and down as you would in BSR Mode 1. But Mode 3 is your basting stitches. So you have stitches per inch 1, 2, and 4 with that basting stitch mode. All the different quilting designs, like in this photo, it tells you what the design is. as well as you have multi-line lettering, as well as you have the QWERTY quirky keyboard. Let's talk about a few mechanical things that they did here. Let's start with the threading path. The spool of thread always goes up here, up top, boop, boop, right up here, and then it goes straight over to the pre-tensioner right here. They made adjustments so it's longer, so it's a little bit harder for the thread to pop out, as well as they made little grits, a little nicks in the metal, so it grabs the thread in that pre-tensioner. And then down here is the tensioner, and then you go down here to the check spring, and in this take-up lever, you know how in the 5 series machines, how you kind of have to push it in there, and there's that little black metal piece that is back, and so it kind of holds the thread in that take-up lever? This machine has it. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And then it goes down here, and the magnetic thread clamp is inside the guts, right around here. The laser is right about here, underneath. Guide that the thread goes behind, they made that just a smidge tighter as well, to help from when the needle cuts, that the thread doesn't get pulled out of there when you hit the thread cutter. Thank you guys so much for joining me in the features, the what's new of the 790 Pro. Please check out the unboxing video so you can see all of the little gadgets, and check us out on Facebook, the Sewing Palace Bernina, or Instagram, Sewing Palace Bernina. I'd love to see you. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.